Yeah, you're on.
Good afternoon, everyone. Ever wondered what phenomena results in you thinking of Coke or Pepsi whenever you're asked which soft drink you'd want? What makes that one brand flood your thoughts whenever someone asks you for an unprompted question about its category or niche? In today's ever evolving and highly competitive market, creating and maintaining distinctive brand image has been increasingly crucial for businesses of all sizes. Brand awareness is the foundation of brand recognition and is the extent to which consumers are familiar with a particular brand and its offerings. Understanding the relationship between brand awareness and funnel metrics is critical for making informed decisions about marketing investments and measuring success. And hence, MBA IIT Kanpur is thrilled to host Ms. Priyanka Chetal Sharma, DVP, Brand and Content, Induslnd Bank, for the 34th episode of Kaleidoscope to gain more insights on the topic, increasing brand awareness and how it impacts your funnel metrics. Ms. Priyanka is a seasoned marketing professional with over 9 years of experience. She has worked with esteemed companies such as the Mahindra Group, Zomato, and Paytm. Currently leading brand and content for Induslnd Bank's digital wing, she has a passion for staying in tune with the latest global trends and finding innovative ways to engage with customers. Now, without any further delay, I request Ms. Priyanka to kickstart the session. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Ayushi, for that heavy duty introduction. and welcome to you guys as well. Such a brilliant set of people, I must say. I was going over your batch PPT, and it's really thrilling to understand the whole make of the batch and what kind of diverse set of experiences you bring to table. And let me tell you that this environment of MBA and your exposure so far is really going to help you build on from here in an even better way. All right, so I heard that you guys have already had a session on brand management before this. So I don't want that this kind of bogs you down with another brand awareness session, but I want this session to be as interactive as possible. And let's talk through it, let's discuss, and I would be glad to share any and all insights that I have. All right. So to begin with, I mean, you guys know the topic. It's increasing brand awareness and how it impacts your funnel metrics. But to begin with, what is a marketing funnel? Can any of you quickly take me through what is a marketing funnel?
Ma'am, I would like to take that question.
Sure.
So, ma'am, marketing funnel, as much as I have understood, is that a customer moves from being a suspect or a prospect to being a loyal customer, like a partner. So there are a lot of steps in between, like they become the advocate of the company, they become a customer and then a client. So slowly and steadily, we move the customer toward in the marketing funnel so that it increases his brand loyalty.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Soham. In fact, how you can put it is that you increase awareness, you make people aware of what your brand is, what it has to offer. Eventually, you move them to interest so that they start considering your brand. And then eventually, you move them into the purchase bucket, which is actually a sale. And after that, you onboard your customers, right? And so on and so forth. As in, once the customer is onboarded, then you start engaging with them eventually to make them your brand loyalists. Now, why and how does brand awareness play a role in all this? Why is it so important? Why is it so talked about? So, in fact, to begin with, let me ask you a very simple question, right? Which are the top brands that you guys can think of when I say food?
PepsiCo, Nestle,
McDonald's,
Unilever,
KFC.
Okay. And?
Delicious.
Cadbury.
Zomato.
Okay. And when I say, oh, Britannia, interesting. And when I say tea?
Red Label.
Tata Tea.
GST.
What is making you guys think of all this? Kahan se aa rahe hain answers? How do you know about it? I just said T.
Advertisements, branding.
Yeah. So immediately what happens? Like when you land at a store and you see Pepsi on the shelf versus any other brand, you're inclined to pick that up, right? Suddenly that usage translates into a buying behavior or a buying intent, which means that all of that information that you've gathered from all around you is translating into consideration and then eventually purchase. So that is loosely the impact that brand awareness has. Absolutely. Harsh says that it's brand recall. It is brand recall. Absolutely. And personal experience shaped through advertisements. Absolutely. So I think there are so many touch points these days, be it offline or be it online, that the more the number of touch points you touch a consumer with, and if it fits their use case, they would stand to recall it, if you've done your job well, of course. So that is why brand awareness is so important. Brand awareness is basically an all-encompassing term for how aware and informed people are about what your brand has to offer. And of course, you raise brand awareness amongst your demographic, because ultimately you also have a target audience in mind that you want to speak to, right? So once you raise that awareness amongst that particular demographic, your brand becomes top of the mind when these customers are ready to research and make a purchase. Agreed? So far with me, guys? I know it's after lunch, so
absolutely.
Let's all be super participative. Okay, great. All right, so brand awareness is generally seen as the first stage of the marketing funnel. By creating brand awareness, you can cast a very wide net across your audience of potential buyers. And from there, you can funnel leads towards the research and decision-making process and eventually the buying process. Now, let me ask you, how do you guys suggest, how do you build a brand? What does it take to build a brand? I mean, there are so many jargons in the entire marketing portfolio, building a brand awareness, there is Coke, there is Pepsi, there is Zomato, there are so many brands that we are talking about. But how to build a brand? What is the first step to building a brand?
The first step would be, ma'am, to research about your target audience and as well as your competitors, to know who your target audience is, and design your campaigns in such a way that it caters to their needs.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very well put. The first step is to identify your target audience. And of course, followed by that is establishing what all touch points should you identify to talk to that target audience. Okay, what else? You've identified who you want to speak to. What do you do then?
Ma'am, the point of difference is the differentiating factor.
Yeah.
Identifying the need, ma'am, basically the unmet needs of the customers, which are not being met by the other brands, existing brands, and focusing on those parts specifically.
Okay.
I'd like to add a point.
Sorry?
I'd like to add a point.
Yeah, sure.
So market research is the fundamental thing that goes into building a brand. Once you know what the customer wants and you identify if in the existing market any such product is already there or not. If it's there, then you will look for improvements. If it's not there, then you build a product from scratch.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That makes sense. I think Bhakti is also saying the same thing. She's saying understanding the behavior. And Harsh says identifying the point of difference and point of parity. Absolutely. You guys are all bang on, right? So once now you've established who you want to speak to and you've established what you want to say, then what do you do?
Ma'am, we strategize like what are our offerings and how do we want to put that across, like basically position the offering in the market and put the pricing across, like who we are. We need to study what are the requirements of the target market and Yeah,
So you've,
that's what I think.
yeah, so let me just, okay. So you've identified who your target audience is. You know what you want to talk about. You know what the positioning of your product has to be and how you want to sell it, right? So the next step is, where are you going to find your people? You've identified everybody, you know what they want, but you want to talk to them. How are you going to find them? That becomes your immediate next step. Now, these days, if you look at the kind of touch points that we have, they are broadly classified into offline and online, which of course, a lot of times we say traditional media and the new online media. So what are these traditional media? Do you guys remember any, yes, Soham, absolutely, social media. So do you guys remember any great campaigns done in newspapers or radio, print? I mean,
Amul campaigns.
Sorry?
The Amul campaigns in the newspaper are very prominent one that come to mind.
Absolutely, absolutely. And now Amul has beautifully translated that to the digital media as well. And now whenever you go to the market and you pick up something from that shelf and you see Amul, it's not an unknown brand, right? You do know what it has to offer. So your offline or traditional media, it comprises of print, TV, out of home, radio, and so forth. But these days, since of course, online media is on the rise, so definitely there are a lot of other ways that you can create brand awareness, even through all kinds of social media platforms. And interestingly enough, there are even other digital websites or assets where you can plug in your brands to create awareness. So let's go one by one. When we talk about social media, so there are again two ways to market your product on social media. One is, of course, the organic content that you put, which is all your posts or webinars or sessions like these, right? So you're generating awareness. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to leverage the network effect from all across your audience so that you reach the right people. And once you make these kind of posts paid in nature, you can actually target them to your very specific target audience. So you might have observed that whenever you access something on, say, Instagram, right, you are thrown those kind of ads again and again. Has that happened to you guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
That is because your behavior is getting recorded. What do you take interest in? Do you really check out all kinds of food recipes all the time? So why not throw some food related ads to you? So these kind of behaviors are noted. And of course, relevant ads are then shown to you to make sure that you consume relevant content, because of which the brands can actually position themselves in your minds. Right? So other than social media, of course, I mean, and of course, there's LinkedIn, right? Where the network effect is utilized beautifully. Because even if a person likes a post, it goes into a ripple effect to their network and so on and so forth. But when you run ads on these, then what happens is that you're able to target audience very acutely. So if I say that the demographic in my mind is 25 to 45 years of age, has interest in food and watches food recipes, food bloggers, is interested in lifestyle related pages, likes to travel, and so on and so forth, I can actually set up all of these interest types across all social media platforms and identify audience like these and just speak to them. While your traditional media is spray across a large cohort. When I say cohort, I mean segment of users. And your social media or your digital media is more pointed. So you can speak to targeted audience in a targeted manner, right? So you guys might be targeted with a lot of ads from Zomato. Now, the reason for that can be that either you're adding, you're ordering a lot of food, maybe you're checking out a lot of food recipes, or simply you lie in that demographic, right? So that is how clearly the targeting is done on digital media. And not only social media, for that matter, you can also see So for example, when you visit Amazon, you see a lot of banners on the top, right? And those banners can be by different brands. So say you see an LG banner on that particular page, on the home page. So that's also a way to market. That's also a way to generate awareness. That is also a way to address and capture an audience that is likely to come onto that platform. So it is not only these kind of ads, but it is also these kinds of cross brand partnerships, if you will. So it is all about identifying your target audience and where is it that they are consuming content, right? In addition to that, of course, whenever you go to Google and you search for something, sometimes there are literally 3 ads that pop up first, and whatever you searched for is actually the 4th result. So what are those 3 things at the top? Those are ads very in tune with the kind of keywords that you're punching in. And that is called SEO, which is search engine optimization, so that whenever you punch in a keyword, some content throws up. And obviously, it is a brand's endeavor to rank at the top, always. Why is that? Because there are hardly any people who would move to pages after pages, right? Everybody would literally just see first 5-10 results and then move on, because they would get something relevant. So, publishing a lot of content helps. Relevant content, of course, and using the keywords, that also helps quite a big deal. Other than that, you might have seen that there are several blogs that people keep writing. So one is that it aids in this kind of keyword, the keywords get pumped in these kind of blogs, and then it helps you to feature up. But it also helps in disseminating information that you actually want to relay to your target audience. Right? Other than that, I think one of the most popular ways of marketing right now is influencer marketing. So you would see the way that there are different people talking about a particular brand, right? So they are collaborating with the brand, whichever suits to their tonality and their personality and their influencing behavior. And that is what they're taking from those brands, and that is what they're talking about. So, okay, let me take a quick 2-minute poll. Which is the influencer that comes to your mind when I actually talk about an influencer? Ankur Variku. Carrie Minati, okay. Okay, Vivek Mittal. Ankur Variku seems to be very popular. Prajakta Kohli. To be honest, I was actually expecting a couple of celebrity names first, but it's great. Amitabh Bachchan, okay, here it is. Kylie Jenner, okay. I wonder what she's influencing you for. Sara Ali Khan, Bhuvan Bam. Awesome. Have you guys actually been influenced by these influencers to actually make a purchase? No.
Not exactly like purchase, but they have influenced us. For example, I will take Sharan Hegde. He influenced us to get more knowledge about the financial education, about the importance of it. So basically, they are, even though they will start selling the services afterwards, but they are creating the market right now.
Interesting. So you actually consume their content to gain more knowledge and more information.
Absolutely.
And ma'am, there are several times when we want to buy any product which is quite more costly, let's say a phone or something, we do go to check on their reviews from the, let's say, technical guruji or any tech guy who has good influence. And despite of searching for what in which advertisement Shah Rukh Khan has done or this kind of things, we do prioritize these things.
So have you made a purchase, Bhakti, based on this feedback from technical guruji?
Yeah, I did actually.
What did you buy?
Recently I bought Apple iPad
Hmm.
4, and I basically searched for the, like, I wanted to get an iPad but at cheaper price, because there is second thing is I have 2 to 3 things in my mind. One is Samsung 7 or 8 series or Apple iPad series. So these
Okay.
things, and that helped me, like, not only technical Guruji, there are 2 to 3 like influencers I have searched for, and then I made my decision.
That's great. That's great. See, they're influencing your purchase already. Awesome. So yes, I mean, like I was saying, influencer marketing is extremely popular. And as you can obviously see amongst this close set itself, that it is influencing a lot of purchases as well, right? This is one purchase that Bhakti voiced, but I know that I think all of us have actually purchased or checked reviews of certain products from, especially from certain influencers, and then gone ahead and made a purchase. So that is the power of content, that it helps in generating brand awareness. And brand awareness becomes even more important because these days you have even more options across categories. You actually go to buy a cell phone, right? And you're bombarded with several options. So anybody would be confused. Now, to make an informed decision, people do their research. People would go to these kind of influencer pages. People would look at videos. People would check out the reviews and then make an informed decision. Pehle kya hota tha? That it only used to be traditional media. So your print, radio, OH, suddenly you just see all of those ads and you register a brand. And when you reach the shop to buy something, it suddenly clicks and you make a purchase. But nowadays, it's a combination of everything. I read a study somewhere and it said that we spend close to 6 hours a day on digital media. So this becomes a very essential touch point to capture your audience's interest. And hence, to be digitally present becomes equally more important these days. And it's very interesting. It's a very interesting job because you should populate content which makes sense, right? Because if you just populate anything, nobody is even going to visit those pages, and it's just an investment gone down the drain. So you have to be smart about it as well. So other than that, of course, there are emails, SMSs, and I'm sure these days you guys might have started receiving some WhatsApp business related WhatsApps as well on your phones, right? So that is also a channel of advertising itself. So, and of course, if you go to different applications, so if you go to Zomato or if you go to Paytm, you would see different ads over there as well. Or you would see that app only promoting something, some of their product, which they decide is the key highlight. So that is how, and this entire thing, like there is a push notification that comes to you. So Zomato is doing a fantastic job by literally sending you a push notification at 4 p.m. saying that chai ka time ho gaya, chai pi lo. So, which is really, it arrests your interest, right? To some extent, where users actually say कि इनको कैसे पता कि हम 3:30 बजे नहीं 4 बजे पीते हैं. So it's actually the perfect timing that you need to crack, and the perfect target audience and the message. All of these things combined. I'm not saying that I would quickly click on that notification right away and order a chai from Chaios, but definitely if I want to order something from Chaios, instead of picking up my phone, I might just log on to Zomato and then order chai from Chaios whenever I please, right? So that is the power of communication in general. And this is how brand awareness in general helps. The last way, of course, I know I briefly touched upon it. It is partnerships, brand partnerships. You would see a lot of brands coming together and talking about a common narrative, and sending across a common message. So these kind of partnerships also help in amplifying the message that you're trying to send across to your target audience. And of course, these kind of brand partnerships also help in, I mean, it's a win-win for both the parties, to be honest. So you would, if you check out Myntra, for example, and you go to the offers section, I mean, for everyone on the call rather, you can tell me like what kind of deals that you see in the offers section, right? There are so many offers. Who does it help? It not only helps Myntra sell its product, but it also helps the partner who's collaborating make a transaction. Because ultimately the customer transacts on their card or through their account or whatever, wallet, etc. Yes, absolutely, Chiranjeev. Zomato, Uber, depending on different times of the day. Absolutely. That is how they arrest interest. That is how you would always remember. Apple and Nike. What about them, Rahul?
There's a Nike Plus subscription that you can have.
Yeah.
So you can run with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
NRC. Great. All right. Now we've spoken broadly about the touch points. We've spoken how brand awareness is important and how do you build brand awareness via different channels. And I think one key element that we've missed out, or I haven't explained enough maybe, is Facebook ads and Google ads. So Facebook, Instagram, of course, we spoke about to some extent. But for example, when it comes to Google, in addition to SEO, you would see Google Display Network ads as well, which means that absolutely, so SEM as well. You would see GDN ads, which means that there is a whole Google Display Network which carries certain ads that you choose to deliver to a certain set of target audience, right? Then there are YouTube ads as well. There are specific, you might be wondering, right? You're watching Acha Khasa, you're watching something, and then suddenly this very relevant ad pops up that you can neither skip nor watch because you were actually watching something, but you end up watching the ad. Now that is because of the targeting that has been done very, very carefully after measuring all the demographics, after understanding your interest, and after making sure that, yes, we think that this person is going to be interested in this message. So these are some additional ads that obviously run. And then there are, of course, various audience networks that various companies also provide, which means that there are ads that you can run on different audience networks, which is essentially, again, the same thing, finding your target audience at the right place and generating brand awareness to exactly those people who you want to interest in your brand. Right? All right. So, itna humne baat kara about brand awareness and the marketing funnel and this and that, but how does it impact a purchase? Like, how does it help? And how has it helped any of you, in fact? Any brand that you can think of that you literally stepped in the market, other than Coke, Pepsi, and all of those, but a very specific purchase that you wanted to make. And just because of the ad, you ended up purchasing it.
Ma'am, Skechers. So Skechers are specifically built for walking and running. So even though they don't heavily spend on advertisements like Nike and Adidas, but they are known, they're well known in that sense. So that was one purchasing decision taken by me for specifically buying a walking shoe.
That's a brilliant example because you actually mentioned their positioning as well in your entire decision, right?
Yeah.
That they're meant for walking and running.
Yeah.
Great. Awesome. Anyone else?
Ma'am, Zerodha also, they most probably go for organic marketing, but their ads are like not ads itself, but the podcast they do, the content they release. It has been a great help while choosing services like finance, stock market investing, and all those things. So I prefer the Kite application of Zerodha just because of their content marketing and all those things.
Interesting. So Rahul installed Cred by watching the Jim Serb advertisement. Of course, that counts as well.
I made a purchase decision for like when I wanted to buy cosmetics, I wanted to be more onto the organic side. and hence the ad pops up, it is of Just Herbs, and I end up buying lipsticks of that, and the content ingredients are really good. I found them good, so I might purchase more. So that's just like I came across this brand just by advertising it on by seeing advertising on Instagram.
That's brilliant. Very nice. I think somewhere some marketeer is going to be really happy. All right. Great. So, okay, let me explain just as an example. Since app marketing is so relevant, I'm thinking, why not explain to you guys how the entire funnel works, right? So whenever you're trying to measure an ad for brand awareness, there are a couple of things that you can measure. You can check the impressions, you can check the reach, you can check the number of clicks, the CTR, which is the click-through rate, right? And once a person has clicked on the ad, that person ultimately leaves the platform and moves on to your platform, which is your brand's platform, right? Which means that it directly impacts your website visits, right? And in case of an app, it can affect your app installs. So of course, if a person is landing on a website, of course, the person moves on, reads the whole content, and makes a purchase. If the person is on the app, there are two ways to redirect a person to the app as well. One is that you make them land on the home page, if that is your intention, or the other way is to directly land them to the page where you intend that they should make a purchase. So again, your funnel metrics are app installs, then you move to the particular page, then you add something to the cart, and of course, then ultimately checkout and then success. So that is how the entire purchase funnel looks like in case of an app, right? And all of this stemming from brand awareness, right? So, I mean, in all, if you literally imagine a funnel, like the literal funnel which exists, the better the people who enter that funnel, right, the better the quality of purchases that get made, because they might just end up becoming your repeat customers. And then you might actually induce a lot of brand loyalty in them as well. What about the time spent on the site and conversion rate, Sonam?
Ma'am, like the persons who are visiting the website or the app, like how much time of the day they are spending on the app, and it shows the engagement of the customer with the application. And moreover, the larger the time spent, it means that he is visiting more number of pages, and that does mean that the content which we are generating is having is getting the reach which is meant to be. And the conversion rate, ma'am, means like people are visiting but they're not buying my services. So that will increase my cost, but that will not increase my not generate revenues. So
Absolutely.
basically, yes, ma'am.
So there are, I mean, again, so this is a part of the funnel itself. And you see that people are actually spending a lot of time on your platform, but not ultimately making a purchase. That again calls for some level of customer feedback, right? You should always check with them. You should always go back and check that, what went wrong. You spent, say, 5-10 minutes here, but you did not make a purchase. Where is it that you dropped? What was the disconnect? Maybe the person wasn't able to add their card. They were really inclined to, buying something. So all of these things are something wherein you have to tie the entire, you have to basically circle the whole thing back together by asking the customer that what happened. Ultimately, customer ke paas hi you have to go, right, to understand and improvise on your product as well. Maybe the customer was facing some problem on your app or on your website, wherein he or she wasn't able to open the page only that they intended to go to. So that is one thing. The other thing is even your conversion rate, for that matter. There are obviously successes which happen of people who add something to their cart, and there are cart drop-offs as well. In both the cases, you would ideally go back to the customer and say, what is it that you liked and what is it that you did not like, so that you can then improve upon your product. All right. So essentially, just to summarize, I would say that you increase your brand awareness, you end up increasing your brand recall, which ultimately betters the quality of the leads that you ultimately stand to get, because there is an awareness exercise that happens. There is also performance marketing that happens side by side. One is aimed at showing your ad to maximum number of people, just like say a print or an OH is aimed towards showing your ad to maximum number of people and attracting traffic. Similarly, performance marketing is very skewed to converting the bottom of the funnel. While brand awareness increases your top of the funnel, your performance marketing converts at the bottom of the funnel. So both of these things have to go hand in hand. And the better your message and better you are at creating brand awareness, the more quality people you actually let into your funnel. And ultimately, they have high purchase intent. And through performance marketing, or in fact, organically as well, you actually see that those people have converted and ultimately they have made a purchase. All right. So that's about it from my side. I'm open to questions.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Anyone who has any questions, please raise their hands. We are opening the floor for question answer session.
Yeah, Arvind.
Good afternoon, ma'am. So I just have to ask you one question, ma'am. So how can you ensure that the brand awareness efforts are aligned with the overall marketing strategy and the funnel goals?
Okay, so that's a good question. And see, I would say that brand awareness has to be the first step of actually going to market, right? Your entire marketing strategy is or should be broken down into two separate parts. And if you talk about creating a go-to-market strategy, so I'm assuming that you're talking about launching a product, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah. So when you're talking about launching a product and you're talking about formulating that strategy entirely, you should actually first focus on relaying your message to the right set of target audience.
Yeah.
Who you think can actually benefit from your product and who you can communicate with very easily and with very exact message that you actually want to relay. And it obviously goes hand in hand with performance marketing also, because all of those leads that you ultimately accumulate, they have to translate into business as well. So which means that, and I mean, the approach to both of these ads is slightly different, because
Yes.
one is where you're educating the customer and the second one is where you're making a sale. So both of these have to go hand in hand and should be a part of your launch strategy, definitely. With brand awareness, in fact, given more weightage.
Yes, ma'am. That does answer my question.
Great.
Harsh, you
Okay.
can go ahead with your question.
Like for a company who is entering into a very new portfolio, let's say for an extreme case, let's say Mahindra is entering into cosmetics.
Okay.
And
wow.
So do you think that like their brand value will help people in this awareness part, or is it also a fresh start for them?
Very interesting question. I would say, see, it doesn't necessarily mean that if you know a brand, it would gel with all categories, right? When I say Mahindra, at least to me, there's a car that pops up in my head, right? And you would not go to, say, a Mahindra to expecting that you will get cosmetics.
Yes, exactly.
So that is where your entire branding strategy comes into play. So for example, if you were to say that Mahindra is to launch a cosmetic brand, then that person would not say that XYZ or would not call its brand Mahindra, right? They might just call it something else. Might just say beauty and care by the Mahindra Group. They might not even say by Mahindra, because Mahindra in itself registers as a four-wheeler brand or a tractor brand, so many other things, so many other offerings that they're already into and quite established at that.
Yes.
So which means when they actually talk about their group, it still makes sense, but obviously they will have to rebrand whatever that they're thinking to promote in a certain different way.
Yes. Okay. Thanks, ma'am.
Thanks. Ashutosh?
Good afternoon, ma'am. My question is that when we are promoting a brand or any product on social media campaigns, does it increase the conversion rate of the marketing funnel, or it just increases the overall number of people that are entering into your product, into your funnel?
So that is exactly the difference between an awareness-led campaign and a performance-led campaign. So an awareness-led campaign means that you're attracting people at the top of the funnel, and your performance-led campaign means that you're trying to convert people at the bottom of the funnel, right?
Okay.
Which means that if you're running an awareness campaign with an objective to bring more traffic to your website, you might get a lot of people to land on your website. But would they convert into a purchase? That is not the job of an awareness campaign. That job is basically of a performance campaign, which is very optimized towards conversions, right? So wherein you might just, a performance campaign, for example, is very, very skewed towards the fact that the person purchases your product. Similarly, an awareness campaign is very, very skewed that a person at least visits your website or installs your app, at least, or visits your app. So the objectives are completely different. So there is no one answer to this. I would say that there are two different strategies to it. One is an awareness strategy and the other is a performance marketing strategy.
Thank you, ma'am. I got it.
Harshil?
Okay, good afternoon, ma'am. Ma'am, so my question is that how can a company continuously evolve and improve their brand awareness efforts over time?
Okay. Which is your favorite brand, Harshil?
Ma'am, like the Apple and Nike.
Apple and Nike. Okay. Why do you remember them? It's been so many years since they've been into existence.
Ma'am, I think that because of their quality and ma'am, like that marketing efforts and ma'am, like their that visibility is high, like in the market.
When you say
That's why.
visibility is high, where all have you seen them?
Ma'am, firstly in the the newspaper campaigns and ma'am, like in malls, stores.
Where else?
Ma'am, and like where else? Ma'am, like I like usually follow these only.
You've seen shot on iPhone, for example, the hoardings all across, right? So, which means that brand awareness has to be a consistent effort. It is not a one-time game. आपने brand launch कर दिया, आपने बहुत हल्ला मचा दिया, and उसके बाद it completely dies down. That is not how it should ultimately play out, right? You generate awareness, but you sustain that awareness as well. Now, the channels of keeping that kind of awareness in tune, those channels can be a choice that you as a marketer make and see what is working the best for you. But of course, so for example, in case of Apple, there are different kinds of, so you might have seen the recent Instagram ads as well, right? Of iPhone with those animated testimonials of sorts. So those are the current ads which are running. Earlier, they were just talking about their camera. So they're very clear that what are they talking about? Why is it that a person should actually visit the store and say कि मुझे तो Apple का iPhone चाहिए और मुझे कोई और phone ही नहीं चाहिए because I really want my camera quality to be top class, right? So this awareness has to be an ongoing effort. It is not a one-time thing that you आपने release कर दिया सब कुछ हो गया. And you would also see that there is a lot of frenzy around whenever iPhone launches its phone. That there are so many people who stood in the queue, ultimately wanting to get their hands on the latest iPhone, etc. There is a lot of PR activity. So PR is yet another way to generate a lot of awareness, right? To be in the news positively, of course, to generate that sort of awareness and to have a very clear message of why are people in the queue for the latest iPhone. It's because it's launching its XYZ edition, or it's launching its high power camera or whatever. I mean, so you would always find that the messaging is very clear. So they're not doing awareness just for the heck of it, but they're doing awareness with a very acute message that they want to pass on. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That answers my question.
Yeah, Chiranjeev.
Hello, ma'am. So, ma'am, we know that increased marketing competition has made B2B selling a bit harder than usual. And no matter how compelling the marketing efforts are, a brand might still lose to its competitors. And the purchasing decisions and the buying behavior of consumers is such that they keep on changing rapidly. So in such a scenario with so many factors, how can a brand attempt to outperform its competitors and by differentiating its products at the same time?
So very interesting question. And the answer to this is actually one of your answers that you gave in the beginning, which is market research. It is not only at the start that you need to keep the market research on. You have to keep your market research on all throughout. If there is a particular differentiating factor that is making your competition win, or the share of wallet of a person is actually going to your competition, then you need to do a better marketing research and understand that what is it that your product is missing. So obviously your product has to be A1. First of all, you need to really be convinced of the product that you're selling. And then you have to do this continuous round of market research and understand that where is it? Where is the drop-off happening and why is it happening? Right? So maybe it might just be something as simple and as trivial as कि जो आपका competition है ना, उसके website पे button left को है या right को है, but आपके यहाँ पे हमें scroll करना पड़ता है. So it's just more convenient. हमने तो ध्यान ही नहीं दिया हम कहाँ जा रहे थे. So it can be something as trivial as that in actually affecting that kind of a user purchase behavior. So I would say that market research is a thing which should never be let go of. It is should not be a one-time effort. You should always keep going back to your customers. What is it that they like? What is it that they don't like? One is obviously it helps in product improvement. The other is it also helps in setting your proposition right. So for example, a lot of times people might just come back saying, oh, हमें तो पता ही नहीं था कि आपका product ये भी offer करता है. We had no idea. So that is where you actually have to explain to the person, and then in retrospect, you realize that, oh, did we not communicate this enough? And then you make that as the hero of your message, and that is when you launch it again. Does that help?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Soham.
So, ma'am, like today itself, we were going through a example of Tata launching the cars in the EV sector. So like the case was that they don't want to give away with their legacy image, like the contemporary design philosophies, all those things, but still they want to attract the youth with the cool quotient. So they are trying to build collaborations with IPL and like Lionel Messi. So the point is that like it was a doubt for all the students that is this strategy going to be a very good strategy to get hold of the youth sector, or should companies like this, which are having a legacy image, they should try any different strategies to get hold of the youth?
So I mean, see, whatever the pocket allows to some extent, and of course the rest is wherever your target audience rests. If your target audience is the one which is watching cricket, that is the association that you spoke about, right? That is what they're trying to associate?
Yes, ma'am. Like IPL and Lionel Messi, like football.
Yeah. So sports is what they're trying to target. And all the headline events of sports is what they're trying to target, right? Which means that they're very clear of the demographic that they're going after. And they're very clear of the kind of people also that they want to attract to their brand. Now, even though Tata has been a legacy brand or a legacy company, you would see that the latest cars by Tata are actually in direct head-on competition with any other car manufacturer in India today, right? You would literally see that Tata Nexon or Tata Altroz or Safari or whatever, they are competing head-on, which means that they have evolved their product to a very large extent, and they've made improvisations which were needed as per the market.
Exactly, ma'am.
And they actually positioned their Tata Punch also in the last, I'm not sure which series, I can't remember, but one of the series they actually pitched Tata Punch also. So they want a mass impact is what I can understand. And they want to talk to the set of audience that they want to talk to as well. So they're very clear of the demographic and they want to create a big impact. And big impact where your audience is for sure. And of course, I mean, I'm sensing that they're assuming that obviously all the decision makers of making a purchase like this are also watching this sort of, a tournament might also be one of the hypotheses that they might have taken. So yeah, I mean, to start off with something big bang, yes, it's great, but it should always be, I mean, in today's day and age, it should definitely be accompanied with some sort of digital presence. Because ultimately you're so influenced by things around you that influencer marketing or, just by sheer presence on social media, mainstream posts, etc., all of this also makes a very big impact, or simply a PR, which is public relations. So maintaining these certain hygienes along with doing like a traditional media partnership and then showing it across mass media, that definitely does help. And there is, I mean, at least to me or in my mind, I don't think there are a lot of legacy issues in this case because they have improvised their products to a great deal. And their product only has started speaking. So I don't think itna koi issue aana chahiye. Yeah.
Absolutely, ma'am. That answers my question.
Thanks everyone for your wonderful questions. This was definitely a very informative and engaging session. Let us now take a moment to review the key takeaways. Ms. Priyanka began the session by explaining the importance of brand awareness and how it is an all-encompassing concept that establishes a company's presence in the market and helps in increasing customer loyalty. She then went on to explain how brand awareness is built throughout the marketing portfolio and how marketing research highly affects the product that a customer would initially not know of. Priyanka ma'am also explained how digital media tracks and influences our buying behavior, which ultimately stimulates our awareness and helps to capture a large chunk of prospective customers, specifically the role played by influencer marketing in shaping people's decision choices. Finally, ma'am concluded by speaking about the metrics related to brand funnel that would help measuring the brand awareness. She also indicated how brand awareness increases the top of the funnel and performance marketing helps in increasing the bottom half. And ultimately, through these two facets, a brand increases its conversion rate. On behalf of the entire fraternity of IIT Kanpur, we would like to wholeheartedly thank Ms. Priyanka for taking a time out of her busy schedule on a weekend to share her invaluable musings with us. As a token of gratitude, we have planted a sapling at Sundarban National Park on your behalf, ma'am, the certificate of which we would be sharing very soon with you. With this, on behalf of the Alumni and Corporate Relations Committee, MBA IIT Kanpur, I would like to formally conclude the event. We hope that you found this session valuable and we look forward to seeing you at the next event. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.
Thanks to all of you. You guys have been really wonderful audience. And to the organizing committee as well. I know it's a very massive job to put so many people together. So kudos to you guys. And thank you to the audience, in fact, and for being so participative. Thank you. And thank you for having us.
Thanks a lot, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.